I'm Megan Blood.
I'm Alexis Clayman.
I'm Paige Hall.
And I'm Claire Ozell.
And we are the Women's Christian Temperance Union.
The Women's Christian Temperance Union, an organization against alcohol.
The Women's Christian Temperance Union, otherwise known as the WCTU, began in Cleveland, Ohio in reaction to the Women's Crusade. From 1874 to Prohibition, their main focus was to reform society by taking out all the evils in the world, especially alcohol. In an effort to change our nation, they worked with politicians to ban alcohol across the U.S. and educate the general public about the negative effects of alcohol. In reaction to all of their efforts, the 18th Amendment was passed in 1920. The law prohibited the sale, transportation, and manufacture of alcohol on a national level.
But why alcohol? Why now were they so focused on banning alcohol when there were several other things worth fighting for, like women's rights and child labor laws?
Well, hello, Alice. How are you doing today?
Fine. You know how tough times are today? My husband barely makes enough money to cover our expenses. Some months we can't even pay the rent for our apartment.
I know how you feel. Some days, Wilfred comes home from work with only a few pennies.
That must be horrible.
Well, you know how men are, always spending their paycheck on liquor.
I know, but aren't you sick of him going out and wasting all your money on alcohol?
Yes, I really do want him to stop. I don't want to risk having my children become victims of alcohol. What else is there to do? Get alcohol outlawed?
Precisely. Think about it. If the sale of alcohol was prohibited, we would have more money to put towards our rent.
Oh, that really would be quite wonderful.
With this thought, women across the United States began their fight against alcohol.
Then, in 1874, I, Mrs. Annie Turner Wittenmeyer, started the Women's Christian Temperance Union. But you can't give me all the credit. It was the people of the Women's Crusade of 1873 that truly influenced my decision to create an organization devoted to ridding our nation of alcohol. I remember the crusade like it was yesterday. I, as well as Frances Willard and several other women, marched into a saloon in Hillsborough, Ohio. We placed our knees on the sawdust floor and started singing "Give to Thy Winds Thy Fears" with great confidence. Then all of a sudden, our crusade started sweeping the nation.
Annie, don't you remember hearing about the thousands of women in Cincinnati, Chicago, and New York who marched into saloons to protest the sale of alcohol? Just like we did, but I must say, our crusade is probably the most successful in getting the attention of the public.
Oh, by far, Frances. Heck, our crusade even ended up in Harper's Weekly.
Surely, after the popularity we gained from the crusade, we finally gathered enough members to start the WCTU.
Oh yes, that was a great moment in my life, I must say. Without the efforts of our union, our nation would be a lost cause, especially with all the action we take to the streets, marching into saloons, protesting the sale of alcohol, praying and singing hymns about purity.
With all the WCTU's efforts, the organization grew rapidly. By 1879, the WCTU already had 26,000 members.
Each member took a pledge of purity to show their devotion to the organization.
Place your left hand on the book, raise your right arm, and say the pledge along with me. A pledge we make, no wine to take, no brandy red to turn thy head.
On and on their pledge went until they made their final vow of sobriety.
So here we pledge perpetual hate to all that can intoxicate.
Then, in 1879, the WCTU changed the course of action with the help of a new leader.
I hate to say it, Annie, but I don't think our efforts to get alcohol banned are working. When we march into a saloon to request that the establishment be shut down, the saloon owner just simply chuckles and makes a crude remark. How is our nation supposed to take us seriously when we can't even gain respect of a dim-witted saloon owner?
Well, what do you suggest we do?
I think we should take action in politics. The only way we can truly reform society is if we start getting laws passed and start making a difference.
Have you gone mad? We don't belong in politics. That is strictly men's work.
Annie, I'm telling you, we need to start taking risks if we're going to get anywhere in this world.
I know, but I'm not in a state of being to start debating and arguing laws. I just simply can't. I think it would be best if you took my place as president. I would have to discuss it with the others, but I think it would benefit our organization greatly.
I look forward to hearing the latest response on the matter.
After the members debated and discussed the matter, they decided to be the best interest of the organization if Frances Willard was president.
Frances Willard worked in politics, supporting laws, acts, and ballots.
She was particularly interested in the home protection ballot. The ballot would give women the right to vote. She believed that if it was passed, women across America would march into City Hall and place their vote for the prohibition of alcohol, which she believed would then in turn help her campaign for national prohibition. And right she was. In
Which one? That's not my line.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't know where it is.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That's not the page.
You put it together.
Despite all of Willard's efforts, the bill was defeated in the summer.
They just say it.
The bill was defeated in the summer of 1879, but not even that stopped them from pushing for reform.
Then, in 1914, I, Mrs. Anna Adams Gordon, became president of the WCTU. I started working in politics, getting laws passed to improve our nation. There was one law I was particularly interested in. It was the Wartime Prohibition Act of 1918. The act was created to help preserve grain during World War I and stop the military from wasting grain on production of Mountain Vinous liquors. Me, as well as several other ladies, began a petition and addressed it to President Woodrow Wilson as Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy. In addition to the petition, I wrote a letter because I thought a letter would be a more personal gesture. My letter read, March 1st, 1918, Mr. President, we deeply appreciate the privilege of presenting you a memorial representing 6 million women patriots of the United States. We believe this is the first petition in the history of our country in which all leading organizations of women, civic, fraternal, social, patriotic, and religious, as well as hundreds of notable women in the educational and official life of the Republic, have united.
Then, in 1919, all of Anna's efforts finally paid off.
Give me the paper when you're ready, okay? Ladies, did you hear?
Hear about what?
The Wartime Prohibition Act was just passed. Grain no longer go to waste on the production of mountain.
This is a joke.
Oh, happy day. Do you think Congress passed the law because of the petition and the letter you wrote, Anna?
I'm sure it wasn't just because of my letter. There were many other factors into the passing of the law, especially the Anti-Swing League and the Prohibition Party.
Oh, don't be modest, Anna. That law wouldn't have had a chance without your letter or your petition.
I know, but what if people continue to drink alcohol whether or not they're breaking the law?
Well, it is outlawed. It's always negatives with you, Anna. Come on, today's a day of celebration. You shouldn't be worrying already.
I realize that I shouldn't be celebrating, but I can't help worry if our nation is smart enough to stay clear of alcohol.
Well, it is outlawed, you know. I don't think anyone would be foolish enough to risk imprisonment for just a lousy cause.
I skipped her part.
Yeah. No, you did.
Anna Gordon's instincts were in fact right. People just simply refused to follow this law. They would go into speakeasies, which were saloons that claimed to not sell alcohol, but in fact did without the government's knowledge. This is how our nation gained access to alcohol during Prohibition.
Even that didn't stop the Women's Christian Temperance Union from continuing their work in politics.
What is? It's not on here.
Are you freaking kidding me right now? Oh my God. It's right there.
Oh.
No, it's right there.
It's not politics.
I changed it.
The government realized that prohibition was not effective, and they decided to pass the 21st Amendment in 1933. The amendment repealed the 18th Amendment, which made alcohol legal again.
Even that didn't stop the Women's Christian Temperance Union from continuing their work in politics and helping up-and-coming organizations find their way in the political world.
The women of the WCTU expanded their area of work and helped women who were trying to gain voting rights get into politics. They also took interest in immigration and child labor laws.
The WCTU caused a great reform in our society from 1874 up until the end of Prohibition, and the organization is still around today, pushing for change in a world full of evils.
Our organization has helped surpass many laws that put alcohol in a positive standpoint. In fact, we have opposed laws that lower the drinking age to 18. We believe that the national drinking age should stay at 21 because of the fact that each year, 5,000 people under the age of 21 die as a result of underage drinking. Alcohol remains a toxic substance that causes distress in families and in the lives of people across the nation. We will continue to push for reform, ensuring that the drinking age is not lowered.
The WCTU, an organization devoted to ridding our nation of alcohol and reforming our society for the better.
Yeah, we're really doing it.
Yeah, that's the first we've ever done.